Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role playing games with friends. This is Star Wars Saturdays, which happens on Saturdays, and it's going on like 6 years now, where every month, sometimes for a few months, but usually about every month, I'll pick a new RPG or different RPG and reskin it, remix it, somehow say slapdash it into Star Wars. And folks from the Open Hearth community gather together. And it's a mix of whoever could make it for that particular month, schedule wise, or whoever clicked on the button fast enough on our RSVP site. And then we create characters, revisit characters, reimagine characters from previous games, or just whole cloth, all cool stuff we're inspired by, and then tell a story together. This is the fourth session of this month's game, which is Bounty of the Week. Now, Bounty of the Week is a remix, a reskin, a hack of Monster of the Week from Evil Hat. It's a game that is as old as Star Wars Saturdays, pretty much. It was one of the very first games where, and I say this, and it is genuinely true, that this game was Monster of the Week, but bounty hunters before I ever saw The Mandalorian. That's how old this game is. So it feels like it's inspired by The Mandalorian, and I won't even try to pretend that it inspired The Mandalorian in any way, shape, or form. They just kind of like, what was the movie Volcano? And then there was another Volcano movie that came out at the same time, like that, Like I think the cotton gin it was invented in America and in Europe at the same time, something like that. I don't know. Nevertheless, Bounty of the Week has been a really fun project that I kicked off, but then David MK and Will both have added in a whole lot to their mix, and this is a like fourth iteration of Bounty of the Week rules, in that this time we folded in the team playbook, which is a new thing for Monster of the Week. Just had a successful crowdfunding, and they delivered their PDF to me because Evil Hat is on it. Like when I back an indie RPG, I don't expect to get it anywhere near the time that they have promised. I'm not looking at you, Alan. I am not looking at you, Alan. I also was late on my delivery. So, hey, I'm casting the first stone here from my glass house. But Evil Hat, man, they mean it. When they sit there, like they're done with a freaking book usually. It's amazing. Their deliveries have been consistently pretty on point, and I admire that about Evil Hat. This is just me. It's not me saying anything about you, Alan, or myself. I'm just talking about Evil Hat and how good they do. They do good. Keith, did you deliver on your? Did you deliver on time on
I don't
yours?
want to talk about it.
Okay, see, there you go.
No, the one that's still currently out there waiting on the layout person to finish it.
Oh
The
my
one that was
God.
supposed to deliver in May.
Listen, I know a lot about Microsoft Word. If you need me to lay it out,
It's been a
mhm.
journey.
I like how Keith was just like, I feel a hot seat coming. And is he gonna put me on the hot seat? And I did. I snuck
I'm
it in.
just glad to be introduced this time.
Oh, what time? What time? Speaking of introductions, so we're playing post Return of the Jedi, before Mandalorian time frame, somewhere in that range, using a little bit of the Legends canon in that there is the warlord Zinj, who has an Imperial remnant, like a slice of the galaxy, and I like that because even though I want to play post return, I still want stormtroopers. That's really like the whole thing. That's the whole motivation. Why does Rich constantly go back to Zinj's empire? That's why stormtroopers. Really, the whole reason I want my star destroyers, but I also want post Palpatine stuff. And burgeoning growth of the Jedi Order again, risen anew. Luke Skywalker before he freaked out and you know kind of did the right thing. Who knows? The wrong thing. I mean, he almost killed his nephew. Spoilers for the sequels. Let's do introductions of characters. So this is the whole crew. Last week we were at half staff, and this time we're full boat. And I would like to start with Keith just to prove that he has been introduced and make myself feel less bad. Keith, if you could introduce yourself and remind us a bit about your character.
I've steered myself into that now with the complaints. Keith Stetson, I use the he, him pronouns, gamer, educator, and designer. Outside of Philadelphia, humanhandandbrain.com is my website. I am playing Qian Lo, a human, wait for it, bounty hunter, who is, and what in this game? Ex-ISB, has connections to the Empire, got fed up with their bureaucracy, just wanted to get the job done the best way that she knows how, tried to go to the other side, also found it painfully bureaucratic, didn't make it through the training, and was then recruited, hand selected by our patron Leanna, and has been able to do it the way that she wants, occasionally tapping into those former resources.
I think that didn't make it through training is new information as far as I'm concerned. Like I thought she'd done some rebel stuff. Didn't make it through training is interesting.
You just dropped out in the middle, was like, same poodoo, different day.
Nice. Nice. And they paid less. Amazing. Thank you very much. Next up is Kay. Kay, introduce yourself. Tell us about your character, please. Uh-oh, did Kate get... Oh, Kate did the BRB, and I didn't even read it. Let's skip ahead to Alan, who's right on time.
My name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him. You can find my gaming endeavors under Gallus, Gallus games, on itch.io or drive-through, such as they are, and delayed as they inevitably will be.
Good quality takes time.
Indeed, indeed. And you think the core game took a long time, you have no idea how long the supplement's taking. Anyway, put that to one side. I am playing AL1N, Ali to her friends, the Unbolter to her followers. Ali is a former daimyo of a small town on Tatooine, who's been driven out because humans are like that, meat beings, who can trust them? But the strange thing about Ali is that she has an almost supernatural connection to other droids and similar, and was something of a prophet to some droids on Tatooine, and has a disagreement, I think, with our other droid Jody about how best to achieve droid rights. Ali puts herself out there, and he's also involved in a potentially repeatable body swap with said Jody. More of that in game.
Indeed. Let's go with the other half of the droid pairing. Steven, if you could introduce yourself, tell us about your character.
Sure thing. My name is Steven. My pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Jody, whose pronouns are she, her. And Jody learned about freedom from a droid and then was kind of destroyed and then kind of rebuilt more than once and has rebuilt herself yet again, and looks kind of like a protocol. Oh, I've got a picture. It looks kind of like a protocol droid a little bit, but she is proselytizing to her people, who are the droids out there, about ways to get to become free and to share freedom. And basically she's kind of has a underground group of droids who are either free or want to be free, or ways to get them free.
I'm adding a wish right now for those who've seen the latest season of The Mandalorian. There's like a speakeasy. There's a droid speakeasy in one of the episodes that I just love, and I would love at some point, and maybe it's not on Trident Fest, but because I don't know if it's populated enough, but I would love for Ali and Jody to walk into a droid speakeasy. So we've only got 2 sessions. That's why I'm saying it now, in hopes that it actually happens. But if it doesn't, it's going to exist in my headcanon. Will, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of my character, Lack Naradel. Lacreem, if you want to give him his full title. Lack is a Well, he's a scoundrel. He's a bounty hunter purely because it was either become a bounty hunter or be a bounty, I think. And Leanne's probably bailed him out, given him a license in exchange for him not going to prison and only having his ship, the Beskar Dianoga, impounded instead. And so he is working as a bounty hunter so that he can pay off the massive parking fees, false transponder fines, smuggling, all of the various other things that he owes money to the New Republic. I'm not sure, somebody for So he's a criminal working as a bounty hunter.
Or does he owe it to the Hutt cartel?
Well, who knows?
Who knows? Last but certainly not least is my buddy Greg.
Hey everyone, I'm Greg. I use he, him pronouns. So does Chalks, my character. Chalks is the Deveronian, the muscle, the all too caring father of this group. Last seen at the fighting ring, slowly backing up as stormtroopers entered, and probably went a different way than the droids who had been swapped. It's a good thing Chalks doesn't even realize that happened, because it would just confuse him more. Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Wishes from last session were we'd like to use or see our well-traveled trader ally who is secretly a very accomplished smuggler, and then some fallout from the murder of a Gamorrean, which was perpetrated by Jody with Allie's body and Gravhammer. We also had a wish to meet an NPC who's in the NPC tab called Lorcy, a force wielder of some kind, weird alien creature. Dealing with the dark side and more dealing with their betrothed. And then let's see, an extraction and check in with Alan, which we did before we started recording. Let me see, are there any before that wishes that I should throw out that weren't granted because those players weren't here to have them granted? More interpersonal stuff. Let's see, and I think that's about it. Yeah, there we go. Got all our wishes out on the table. Let's pick up. So AL1N, you jumped bodies and awoke in Jody's body just at the moment when you were in the fighting arena at Fakbar's and about to win your way against a load lifter droid to be able to fight meat beings. And now you are immediately gone from that area. And Stephen, I don't know, do you remember where Jody was when, or do we want to just make it up? What do you
I think I do.
Oh, you do?
Go
good.
Go on, Stephen. You'll have a better memory than me. Well, I think that you were in the vicinity of the fighting arena on a soapbox preaching to people.
Yes. So yes, you're on a little box, and you see that there is one Rolly droid and one Rolly droid that is just watching you as you become aware, and then one person, meat being person, walks by and throws a couple of credits at your feet and keeps walking.
And I think that I clearly confused. I was winding up the Gravhammer.
Yes.
And then I'm outside, and so the arm comes up, but
it doesn't look right, and it moves very stiffly.
It really,
it's
what's
not
going on
fluid
with
at
this?
all.
And I step off the kind of soapbox that I brought to stand on, and of course my whole sense of body dimension is wrong, so I end up missing my footing and falling flat on my face in front of the Rolly droid.
The Rolly droid bumps into you a couple times.
Boop, 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 boop. And I think that's when some of Jody's followers, some of her, political group, appear out of the alleys.
Gonk. There's a gonk
one of
droid
those
comes
big
out of the alleys. comes out, and a few others, yes, in a little Dio type. They all come around, and yes, the family or the followers of Jody all come and usher you away from Chalks's or
Well, I'm
Fakbar's.
just trying to process this. What's going on? Yeah, so that I think is how Jody gets, or Jody's consciousness programming gets away from the what the chaos that I understand is happening inside, where Jody's body is doing terrible things, where Ali's body is doing terrible things.
It's true. Very terrible things. Maybe ruining the countdown clock for you to be able to fight meat beings. Who knows? So let's move this into a custom move that we discussed pre-recording that Alan came up with. So it's a way better idea than what I had, which is just play and don't make rules, Rich, because you're lazy. So let's have you, as you are meeting with everyone, they're near like a set of power cells. So there's this low hum, but there's enough ambient power off of it that there's a little, not tingle, but maybe you feel the tingle, and there's a connection with all of Jody's people, and you wanted to tell them to be a little more militant, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, and you deserve more than you're getting. And of course, they think this is Jody telling them this, which is a subtly different tone. So stop waiting for something to happen. Make it happen.
Yeah. I'd like to see you manipulate Jody's followers to be more proactive and perhaps even militant based on how the die rolls go.
And the way I see this is that my capacity to remote control is linked to my hardware.
Oh.
So I don't have that. So this is a straightforward manipulate. So roll plus charm, which is -1. Irrespective of bodies, it turns out. That is a 6.
Oh, goodness.
Now, what would be a terrible result for Jody?
Oh, a terrible result for Jody would be your absolute success. But I want to ask, would you call for help here? I don't know how you get help, but I just want to make sure that we put that mechanic out there. And
I think the only person who's in a position to help is the ex-Imperial Seeker droid V2G, who is Ali's immediate sidekick.
It's amazing.
Isn't Chalks also there? Did I see something in the chat about Chalks being there?
Would Chalks follow?
I was in the fighting ring.
Okay.
And
Stormtrooper showed up, and
out.
you backed out. So you could be involved in this scene if you wanted. But I'm more than happy, Greg, to give Chalks his own thing.
I think Chalks is probably doing his own thing to avoid the stormtroopers. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So let's see what V2G.
And frankly, it would be inappropriate for a meat being to be at this meeting.
It's true. He would wear a hood though,
that's
so
true.
you'd think he's a droid.
Okay, so I think V2G will help. I think this is V2G is always V2G is my assistant. And has always struggled with what free will means. So whenever Jody starts saying, "Hey, you should be more militant," V2G's like, "Oh yeah, this is right up my alley. That sounds great." But I don't think you have any history, any connections with V2G, right? So I think that'd be a flat roll.
Okay,
That sound right?
that seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have it as a.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you can roll with your assistant, or we're just rolling an NPC, or we're just making sure I understand what's.
I think I'm rolling. It's effectively Jody's.
Right, because you could roll through
for her assistant.
Okay. But there's no HX, so what stat do you think is being brought through here to try to help Ali make her point through Jody's body?
I don't think there's a stat. I think it's still trying to assist, just like normal, but V2G has no history. Is like, V2G would have history with Jody, and that's who he thinks Jody, that's who he thinks he's helping. Okay, so I would say actually V2G has maybe 1 history or 2 history or something.
So that,
But it doesn't
just so
matter.
we're clear, there is no history stat in Monster of the Week or Bounty
Yeah.
Elite. Sorry, the way we do help is you describe how you would do it, and then you roll an appropriate stat that is aligned to that. So we could just do
Oh.
it via tech, and therefore we're rolling flat. If you think,
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, yeah. So I rolled and I got a 4.
Okay,
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna. You see all the processing going on, little beeps and whirs, and we'll cut away from that, and we'll come back to the results of that failed result. Please mark an XP, both of you, friends. Excellent work for making yourself better at other things than that. Chalks. Stormtroopers were coming into fact bars. You decided to. Maybe you didn't want to watch Ellie fight load lifter droid and snuck out the back. Maybe is that what the plan for Chalks is? Maybe make yourself
Yeah.
scarce.
Ducking also on the bet that I had placed that that Allie was going to lose, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I do think you bet against Ellie.
Yeah.
Wow, spoilers.
From what I've heard,
you
though,
win that bet.
I win that bet. Yeah, so Chox is making a subtle exit as the stormtroopers come in the other side, trying to not get into any Imperial entanglements here.
Smart move. So you start to head, trying to look for the back way out. Is Chalks the kind of guy who, when he comes into a place, he wants to know where the exits are, or is he comes in and he's going to figure out the exit later if he needs it?
I think Chox has tried to leave Fock bars so many times that, he's had to do this so many times to get out of the fighting ring that he knows where the exits are.
Awesome. So you know exactly where the exits are, and you're headed that way. It's busy enough here and dim and smelly and smoky that you think you're going to get out no problem. And that's when, out of the shadows near the exit, a Rhodian comes forth and pulls back his hood, and you recognize him. His name is Unmo Zatowu. This Rhodian runs Unmo's, which is, it's a pretty decent little bar that's gone through a whole bunch of upgrades. New money has flooded in, and the sound system is super posh, and the lighting is great. And Unmo has always attracted really good music to his bar. That was until the Max Rebo incident, and now it's a little weird. But he steps out of the shadows and he says, "It looks like you need help. Follow me." And he's going to lead you to the exit that you're already headed to. What do you do?
Isn't Unmo the cartel bar, though?
It is.
Oh. So yeah, Chox is I think he probably gets shoulder checked by Gamorreans entering, which foreshadowing for something else going on.
Yes. Indeed.
Chox is gonna follow Unmo, but now he's got something else. He wants to probably beat the crap out of Unmo. So he's gonna, if this is a trap, it's not a big of a trap. It's something he can handle,
Of course.
Okay, he'd want to be set.
Cool. So you, so Kay just popped back in. We're currently in a scene that is a little bit of history for Chox, who was at Fakbar's arena around the time that Allie had trouble. Chox is trying to escape a couple of stormtroopers who came into Fakbar's arena. Chox went towards the exit, already knowing how to get out, when a Rhodian named Unmo stepped out of the shadows and said, "It looks like you need some help. Follow me," and is going to lead Chox to the exact place where Chox was already headed. Chox decides to play along, confidently thinking that whatever this stupid Rhodian, who happens to be cartel-backed, has to do, he can handle it. And then you step into the alley ahead of the Rhodian. The Rhodian closes the door, and he's still got his hood down, and there's no one in the alley. There are not a bunch of thugs in the alley at all. He looks at you and he says, "You're Chox, right? The bounty hunter."
Yeah.
Hey, you owe me now. I just helped you. His little mouth moving.
And Chox is just gonna like grab Unmo, like just like gather all of like every one of his shirts, right?
He's
with
got
a
4.
fist and push him up against the alley wall. Where's Vumir?
Oh,
That's
wait.
the person who killed Chox's sister,
Oh, yeah.
the cartel
Vumir.
assassin.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is amazing, and I want to see this as a role.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know if he knows who the character is, nor would he know where he is. So, is this a manipulate with threat of hurting?
Yeah,
I
this is
think it
definitely
is.
threats. Yeah.
Okay.
Which totally this playbook has a move for. I didn't take that move.
Oh.
So rolling plus my
Hold
excellent
on.
charm.
You get +1 ongoing when knowingly investigating the enemy that caused your loss.
That's true. That's true. I do. Okay, so I get +1 at least from that.
At least from that.
There's one that lets me manipulate with tough, but I didn't take it. Okay, so that would be +1. Let's see. There we go. Tell me, Unamo. That is a 9.
Hey, a 9 is pretty great.
Doesn't give me XP though.
Does not. No, 7 to 9. They counter your offer, demand payment. His eyes were already wide, but you can see his little proboscis mouth. It lowers down in fear, and he shakes a little bit, and he says, Oh, the Kifar. Yes, I know him. I will tell you, but you have to. You owe me, and you have to help me. You have to help me, and I will tell you. Yes.
Little green man, you tell me, how can I help you?
There's been some trouble, and Gorga the Younger has decided he kidnapped my cousin, and I need my cousin back, and maybe you have to kill Gorga. I'm not sure.
Gorga would not like it.
Dying? Probably not. Gorga the Older probably be even more mad, but I'm all my cousin has. I stopped. I told Gorga I wasn't going to pay him anymore, and there was a gang here. They kicked him off of Vespa. I thought I was free, but I'm not, and they took my cousin. But Vermril, I think I can get him to come here. Yes, I could get him to come here if you will just get my cousin.
Fox lets him go. Drops to the ground. My companions will need credits.
Oh, I have credits. I'll pay you all that I haven't paid Gorga. He will list out, let's call it 2 creds per hunter worth that he is offering. But in the TV show, it's thousands of credits.
Right. Ooh. Where is your cousin? Where is Gorga keeping?
I don't know. I can tell you the ship that they took him on, but it's not on the spaceport anymore. You're the hunter. I'm just a lover of great music and a relatively good bartender.
I think he's lying to me. I think he knows more.
You do?
I mean, he wants his cousin back, but this is cartel, and he's flipping a little too easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Chox is just a little too slow to know that he has told everything.
Not really like he's flipping though, is it? It's more that he's come seeking you out As a
Yeah.
you didn't seek him out to flip him. He's sought you out. So it's either a trap that he's planned, and this is a
Yeah.
elaborate way when he could just jump you in an alleyway, right?
Right.
He actually wants something from you.
Do you want me to cut away and come
Yeah,
back
or
to you?
I was thinking to investigating a quarry.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I think that works.
That's more about finding Dodo, right, than it is about evaluating the business proposition here.
Fair enough, but there are questions in Investigate a Quarry that could possibly apply. There isn't a read a person. That's the closest we get is Investigate a Quarry.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Or,
That's kinda
or
what
we
I'm
could just move
looking at.
away from it and come back and see what you do. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think Chucks would probably do. There's no immediate danger here, so
Correct.
he can do it later. Okay, Onmo, I find your cousin. You bring me the what did he call him? The you
Vumril?
bring me the kafar, and I accept that as payment.
Yes, sir.
Now go! And shoves him down the alleyway.
He does the shaggy run because of his weird sucker fingers. Tian, you've just finally exited. So, question: did Tian stick around in the closet with Lack during the entire awkward conversation with Kin and his betrothed, or did you escape through some kind of hatch and crawl away?
Stayed till the bitter end.
Stayed till
When the closet door was opened and Kin basically talked about Lack and fiance and Stupping, just stood there awkwardly like, so hello.
That's so good. This is very and your point of view of this interaction is this. It's okay. Hold on. As I told you guys pre-recording, occasionally he demands to be held.
Hey,
so
thanks.
it's just he's got nobody else.
As is his God-given right.
There are no other humans in the house for him to go get love from. So now, it's just me. So thank you for that demand, Will. I appreciate it. Cool. You are ushered out so that they can continue their awkward conversation, and Lack has stuff to do. Tian, your comlink beeps with an incoming message. Rich, I know that Star Wars doesn't have text messaging, but I've always imagined that comlinks have audio and also real brief beeper messages that you can receive. I've always thought that was kind of neat. Although then how do you type stuff back? I don't care. Space magic.
Yeah, think it real hard.
Yep, think real hard, and
I can talk to droids now, so it's not a problem for me.
Wait, did you buy a new?
Yeah,
new
that was
move?
well, it's not a move, it was an implant.
Oh right, nice
Taken
implant.
from the former quarry that we had.
That's
But not enough to switch bodies, thank you.
Not enough. You can just do it without switching bodies. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Cool.
Anyway, what's my beeper say?
Your beeper says it refers to you by your code name that the Empire gave you. And it is from an unknown source, but it uses a couple of terms that let you know that it's Sita Amaro.
Yeah, I mean that's
Cool.
cool.
She's reached out to you and has asked you to meet her at Oh yes. I think she wants to meet at Gorsik's Hydroponics.
Is that any
It's on
kind of
Trident.
red flag or
I don't know. Is meeting at a greenhouse with the person who you think you're using, who also thinks she's using you, your Imperial contact, is that weird or sus?
I mean, I wouldn't think so. I just didn't know if you were
No, I
putting it
don't.
out there other than just here is a place.
It's a greenhouse, and I think it's neat, and I like the idea of greenery in the middle of a spaceport.
Okay.
So yeah, it's innocuous enough. It's run by a Toydarian.
And I will just kind of nod awkwardly at Lack, which probably was going to happen anyway. But I will see you when Leanna has something for us.
Sure, no problem, buddy. I mean, yeah, I know you. You've always got things to do. Secret things.
It is kind of suspicious. Like, oh, I need to go somewhere else. Goodbye.
I feel like that's probably what I would have said after that awkward interaction anyway. I don't want to have to talk to you about it. I have to be somewhere. My friend, all my friends are meeting, and I'm going there with all my friends. You're not invited.
I'm pretty sure last session we just said Tian has something mysterious to go do anyways.
I'm just fulfilling the what previous Rich said. That's all. All right, there we go. Now you're down. Now you got enough love. There you go. All right. Cool. So, are you cool if we just like screen wipe ahead to Tian walking in the green? So the greenhouse is a hydroponics greenhouse. It's not like it is greenhouse for sun because this is in the middle of space. There is not sunlight. There's a lot of fake light, but there are solar lamps here, and the hydroponics are in rows. So they're just these ordered columns of various types of vegetation. Some for food, others are oxygenating plants. Others just pretty. Just real pretty. And the Toydarian Gorsix, who runs the place, because it goes up for stories, but he can fly, so he just he's flying around and checking all of the various things. There are a few people who are moving through areas along the ordered rows of the hydroponics greenhouse, and let's see, Sita Amaro is a fairly attractive blonde human woman, and she is not wearing her Imperial stuff, which she totally could because there's an Imperial garrison here. This is within Singe's empire, but she's dressed in plainclothes. I like the picture of her that we have in the NPCs where she's wearing like a turtlenecky style thing. So I think she still has that very covered up, like sleeves to the wrists, smart set of pants, but I think they're the pants. Will and Alan help me out with these, like the pants, like the Imperial pants, where they kind of flop out at the hip or flare at the hip. I don't know what that's called. They actually had it. Jodhpurs. Thank you. See, I knew you guys would know the term, and I am ignorant of the term, but I have heard it before. It just doesn't.
It's our rich Indian heritage.
Wasn't there a sighting of a Jodhpurs worn by someone in Andor? If I swear I remember someone was wearing Jodhpurs in. Okay, good. I don't.
You would have thought that the Empire would be based upon imperialist fashion.
Jodhpur. Awesome. So, she is wearing Jodhpurs and high boots, and she's not nervous. She seems pretty cool. Like she's just checking out vegetables. Oh, she's looking at this space tomato. Or wait, hold on.
She's a good
space
spy,
tomato.
right?
Space tomato. There's me trying to do a little bit of British for you guys.
Is her hair down or up?
Ooh, I think her hair is up. It's like in a very tight bun. And is she the kind of person that would have like sticks in the bun that she could pull out and stab someone in the eyes, or is that a little too?
I mean, you sounded very excited about that, so yeah.
No, I just got excited when I had the idea, but I'm not married.
I don't want to deprive you of eye stabbing unless that's on our lines and veils.
Hold on, let me check. Because it very well could be. I've seen that there. Eye trauma is not. So you guys didn't ask for it not to happen. Therefore,
I'm putting my helmet on ahead of time just to be.
Just put on a pair of goggles. That's all you need.
I was thinking if her hair was down, I might not even recognize her because that is so much like her style to have it up.
Oh, that's true. But yeah, she's very much her style.
Yeah.
You recognize her from across the greenhouse.
She's not really trying to hide who she is, right? She looks like herself, just not Imperial for some reason, despite that not being a super red flag here.
Correct.
And we've done meets before, so we do the whole thing where like I pretend I'm looking for something. I'm looking for the right space cucumbers for my space pickles, and I'm going around and she's looking at one of the flowers. I'm like, oh, It's a beautiful wine. The odor's incredible when it blooms. It's only biannual that it happens.
It's true. It's a shame that only twice a year you could have such beauty. And is that the like binary back and forth to say that you're meeting with the right person, or was that just innocuous conversation?
Yeah, just I mean, we know we're each other, right? It's not a blind meet. We know who we are. Like you're you, I'm me.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I'm just kind of like easing into it as opposed to what do you want? So if anybody's listening, it won't be the first thing that they hear. Did I know she was at Trident Vespa?
No, no, you did not.
Okay. This is an unexpected pleasure.
For you, perhaps. I'm sorry.
Which part is incorrect for you? The unexpected or the pleasure?
The pleasure. It's not you. It's just that Spaceport Trident Vespa is not exactly the kind of place I enjoy. Fur.
Oh, your job takes you all kinds of places.
True. As does yours. Tell me, how are things working with your new team of bounty hunters?
It's everything I could have hoped for. Like I'm not giving you more information than that for free. Like I don't know what you want out of this conversation. We're keeping it vague until we know.
Oh, that's fine. She's
we're
not
trading.
She's not upset. She half expected that level of vagary. Which one of your team members do you think might be valuable to us?
Myself.
Of course.
You have a connection. Do we have a name for our team?
That's a
All
great
right.
question.
You have a connection to Liana's squad. You couldn't hope for a better one. You kind of give her a slightly pointed side eye on that one.
She smiles wanly at that and says, "Don't get hurt. It's unbecoming. It's your weakness, you know. How much you crave the attention."
I mean, inside my head, yes, I definitely I do now. No response. But probably actually too quick of a response, like, so what does bring you to such an undesirable place?
You it's come to our attention that there are threats here at Spaceport Trident Vespa, and I need you to take care of one of them.
Go on.
There is a Chiss on your team, is there not?
Just no response at all.
Of course there is. I do my homework. This
Then
Chiss...
don't waste my time with questions you know the answer to.
This is our game, Tian.
Then play it better.
Kin has information and is valuable to our needs. I want you to pull him in. Yes? You can do that.
I can do many things. The question is if I will.
It is a question, and I'm asking it. Will you do this for me?
There must be more to that sentence that you've forgotten to say.
Oh, I see. You want an offer. What is it you would like, Tian? Credit? Credits?
I was hoping you would have something more interesting than credits. Liana provides me with all that I need. And as GM Rich, feel free to gainsay that. I live in
Yeah.
a storage unit.
That's true. That's true. So didn't you choose to live in a box?
My needs are few.
I think I know more about your needs than you'd like me to.
No.
How about this? Find your way into Kin's good graces so that we can
Oh.
further utilize him. Or Kin finds out that your ex-Imperial sent here after him. Either way, I'll likely get what I want.
You may be good at the game, but you play it so boringly.
Well, I just play to win.
A threat, honestly. Well, I suppose if that's all you have.
Ken's family is getting involved with the Hutt cartel, and we can't have that. They have been loyal Imperial citizens. We need to keep that ongoing. It seems that there will be some member of the Chiss coming here, attempting to pull Ken into the cartel. I'm sure you know Friend of Hutt Cartel. And while the Empire has deigned to allow them to exist, we need to make sure they don't pull any of our loyal citizens. Tian, you're doing the Empire a service.
And happy to oblige in return for similar considerations when needed.
Of course, I don't forget my debtors, nor my debts.
And I think at that, I'll just nod and kind of start looking at some other flowers further
And
away.
she just slides away.
Okay, like, she wants to follow, it's up to her, but okay. That's enough. I have the information. Even though I'm thinking like, oh, the Empire allows the Hutt cartel to exist, because I would have said it the other way.
Hey, the Empire's, Zinj, that's how Zinj phrases it, so that's how everybody else says. Yeah, so.
If I could get in with the Hutt cartel, great.
You don't want to get in with the Hutt cartel. You're not hot. Okay, good. Looking at time, I'd like to take like a 5-minute break for everybody, if that's cool. So let's take a break. Okay, we're back. It is like nearly halftime for this session, so that was our mid-game break, and it ran a little longer because we chatted a bit about Kickstarters and cursing, and it was fun. I'd like to jump forward to bring the 3 who were on Vespa in as the exfiltration team for the 3 that went on a mission. So, cinematically, I want to jump you guys in, but I want to give these 3 players at least a little bit of context because your characters would have it. The hunt, as it was, is actually a prison break. So Jody, in Jody's body, and we didn't do the scene where AL went in, woke up. Like, if I remember, help me out, Steven, but like AL went in, woke up in the alley? Or what was it that was the trigger that flipped him back? What was that moment? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was actually whenever AL1N's body was shocked and deactivated. The body was put out into the
alley right
trash.
outside. Yeah. Okay.
And and that's when Jody woke up in her own body.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes. So now we connected the dots there. But so to jump to the hunt, Liana sent you guys on this hunt. There is a person who had been arrested on the planet of Troikan. Koan is a high-level lieutenant in the Onyx Circle. It's a criminal syndicate that Liana is friendly with, who exist within Zinj's empire, but seem to rebel against Zinj's empire. Koan is a Trandoshan, and she was arrested on Troikin, but Troikin does not have a significant Imperial presence. And so Cohen was in holding before trial, and your team, Liana, sent the team ahead. We didn't talk about how they arrived, so I'm perfectly happy kind of retconning, as it were, that you guys arrived on a regular shuttle of some kind so that the people who are doing the exfil can arrive on oh no, maybe we did have a scene on the Nightingale. I think we did. I don't want to circumvent
Oh,
it.
the exfiltration team are going to need a slightly shady smuggler type to get them
There
there.
we go. A well-traveled trader who's secretly a very accomplished smuggler will get you guys to Troikin. Awesome. We get to introduce our team playbook ally. All right. Well, I'd like to collaboratively build this character. And we're going to do it with the 3 people who are arriving because you're the ones who meet them. So AL1N, what is the species of this bioorganic, well-traveled trader who is secretly a very accomplished smuggler?
I feel this should be something not typical.
Mm-hmm.
So who do we have that's normally a bad guy that is going to be a good guy, or we have a good guy? Well, lots of good guys are slightly shady. So let's make him Ithorian.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, I hit caps lock, so that did not come out correctly. Sweet. So we have an Ithorian. And now I'm going to ask, Greg, what's the overall public presentation of this Ithorian? Could be the way that they dress, or gender presentation, or manner of interacting with people.
Right, because this would be their smuggling persona, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's known as an incredibly fair dealer, which to the point it hasn't made her any friends. I say that because she smuggled for both sides of the galactic conflict. So she's gained this reputation as she's mercenary to a fault. Almost to the point where she seems to have no ethics about it's all about the money for her. Whether or not that's a true reputation, we can play with, but she certainly has been known to smuggle as long as the price is right.
That's amazing. And then Keith, or this also could be from Tian's point of view, what is it about this female Ithorian smuggler that you have enough information or interaction why you trust this person to get any job done that you throw at her from her skill set of being an amazing smuggler?
I mean, I think it is sort of like, it is so black and white for her, building on what Greg said. Like, I take a job, I do a job. It's almost like computer programming for her, like inputs and outputs. Just, we need this thing, here's the money, and it just happens. It always has happened. Like, almost feels like you're not capable of a double cross. Like, it isn't something you would think of.
Oh, that's interesting. She's almost like a droid.
I mean, I didn't say it, you said it.
I did. I said it because you led me down the road. I just closed the circle.
I was trying not to say it because droids have choices and free will.
It's true. So she's like the way that we envision droid. Okay, now we need to come up with a name. Luckily for me, Past Rich stuck some Ithorian names from a name generator in there. So I'm gonna look. Are there any names from our three folks, Will and Stephen and Kay? Are there any names in the Ithorian names that attract you? That's column H in the names and species helper tab.
Well, someone highlighted Mawa. So I trust in the Force.
It's true, the Force. Any opposition to Mawa?
Mawabothab sounds good to me.
Mawa
Sounds
Bothab
good to me.
is our now extant NPC Mawa, and I've even found a pretty cool pic that I'm gonna put in there right in just a second. I just gotta upload it to my Imgur file and I'll drop it in there. She is tall, very tall, but she's a Thorian. So, as a note to folks, the Thorians are the hammerhead species. They have the pair of eyes that are out. They have two throats and mouths to the side. Normally, Ithorians do not speak basic. They often speak in their own native tongue, but have voice translators. So you'll hear this deep rumbling that is their voice, and then a more soothing galactic bass, basic voice translator. And wait, did somebody share a cool ship? Oh my goodness. Is that the Ghost? It looks a lot like Ghost, but it's not. That is a really, really cool pic. Thank you for that. And oh, I didn't even see that you put up a pic for the Ithorian smuggler. I'm sorry. I kind of like that pic. Dang it. I did a bad job of like jumping around. That's cool. So we pick up with Mawa, and I'm just gonna, because this is awesome. You know, I love ArtStation so much. There's so much great art on ArtStation. That website is just delightful. This is the ship that is Mawa's big ship that she's using to bring you guys to the planet Troikan. No, Troikan is a planet. It's in the Outer Rim, the homeworld of the Zexto, who are very short, little four-armed beings. The planet where you're going has a planet or has a city called Vrik, V-R-I-K, Vrik City. You can see a map of it in our tabs on the character keeper, and that ice outpost Ragnar 1A is where the prison is located. The thing about this planet Troikan of note is that it is tidally locked. The planet has a band that is livable, and then a frozen side, and a scorching hot unlivable side. And the Vrik City is a newly built Imperial backed city that was built up near the edge of the icy part of the band, and there is a significant amount of mining that takes place and refining of important materials to the Imperial movements. So, yes. The three of you are aboard. Oh, I gotta name that ship. That ship is too cool to not have a name. So now I am. Yeah, we'll name it in a minute. I can't stop anymore. You guys are coming in to Vrik City when the ambient feed from comm traffic and the amount of people that are moving around the Ragnar ice outpost, the gig is up. There's a problem, and I think your smuggler friend, ally, probably not a friend, Mawa, will call over. It appears that we will be coming in hot. Please arm yourselves. I will not be engaging in combat personally, but I will deliver you.
That's the deal, Mawa.
The Harvest Sun. Thank you very much. That is all I needed. Sweet.
Chalks, I think, is gearing up to I don't know. Can I just have a repulsor pack?
Yes, you have a repulsor pack.
Fantastic. I was probably jumping out of the ship is the plan.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Do we have any idea what the situation on the ground is?
Ooh. How about we cut to, you guys arrive, you're coming in Atmo aboard the Harvest Sun. You're being told that you're going to be coming in hot. Chalks has his repulsor pack, and we cut back down to the three, Jody, Lack, and Kin. Jody in protocol droid body, and your recently freed Trandoshan ally, Cohen Wadul. You've just defeated a number of not guards who are here, and they had a symbol that I had shown you, but I was playing coy with the symbol, so Rich, will tell you, you all recognize that as a symbol of the Hutt cartel, that there was an infiltration team that was sent in here. And if you recall, the infiltration team had Overwatch. You had observed that they have someone who took down the power and who must be keeping eyes on what's going on. So Klaxon has happened. You know that this prison system is run primarily by droids who are independently powered. So when the power went out, it just affected them.
I'm just wondering, is this a good time for these three to do a make a plan move?
These three, you three in the prison?
No. I mean, like, so we did a make a plan to get into the prison, right? Like to slip in and be, and it all went wrong because we arrived in the middle of a hit squad. But our three comrades who are arriving in this smuggling ship, that was surely part of a plan. What was the plan, and how has it gone so far?
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so AL1N, Chalks, and Tian. Let's quickly devise your plan for exfiltration here, and take it to a roll to see how things go when you guys meet up. That sounds good.
Because we went ahead and we did some groundwork, and I think the things that we established before we went in that we could possibly have communicated would be that this is a non-imperial facility, and that there was another group coming after Cohen in prison, but we didn't know anything else basically, and that the prison makes heavy use of droids, which is why that was how we got our in, basically, was through the droids. So I think that's the sort of on the ground, the actual chaos of what went down in the cell. Probably, who knows?
I think what better cover for an escape than us appearing as a droid liberation front.
The Popular Front for the Liberation of Droids.
Is that okay with everyone? Are we good? I mean, it's not entirely untrue. So
yeah, I love that idea. It's too good to miss.
And are they still in the prison?
They are.
Okay. And where is it that Mama is letting us out?
You can tell me.
Depends on the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, as close to the prison as she's willing to get, right? I mean,
for sure.
The less people we have to fight through, the better.
So now we will determine that as a result of the make a plan roll. If you head to basic moves down on row 115, when you make a plan to start a hunt or dangerous action, use the stat of the person who proposed the plan. Hey, Chalks. So, is it a plan about taking violent, dangerous, destructive action? Is it a plan about being careful, safe, stealthy, and smart? Is it a plan about talking, persuading, and manipulating, or lying? Or is it about pushing through, being tough, strong, and implacable?
I think it's the violent and dangerous.
Yep. The where the Liberation Front is only like a gloss. It's really about punching your way through to try to
make it a whole. Yeah.
Sounds amazing to me. I am a fan of that action, which means that you get to use tough. Now, as a reminder, this is make a plan, which means it's assumed you're all working together. There are no help rolls. You make the roll. Now, we did custom in a new thing. And maybe, Greg, I'm telling you this because I might influence your roll. If you fail, you all get the XP.
Yeah.
It's like, you fail an engagement roll in Forged in the Dark and everybody's in a desperate action, so you get XP. It's great.
That's cool. Are we supported by plenty of resources and people?
No.
I think it's just the three of us. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
I don't
just
think
y'all.
that really counts. Are we basing our plan on accurate and current information?
I think
I don't know if
yes.
we are.
I think
Okay.
so because they did some research and have.
Okay.
We'll say that like they're communicating up to you as you guys are in.
Yeah, I was hoping the ground team were on the same wavelength here.
Okay. Is there significant opposition that would interfere with the plan? I say there's not only the prison droids, but also the cartel. That sounds
Right, a
significant.
war on two fronts. You're near the end of True Romance, the movie. So, yep.
And is there significant dissent about what plan to follow? Didn't sound like there was.
I heard
This
no
plan
dissent.
makes sense, Chocks.
Roll in +2. Here we go.
Good luck.
Let's see. Plan +2. Well, we don't get XP, but it's going well.
Okay. On a 10 plus, on a hit, you arrive in the middle of your plan in decent shape. And on 7 to 9, there's some complications or difficulties, but you obviate any difficulties with your amazing insertion. So, Chalks, your repulsor pack, like you're jet packing down. What's a repulsor pack? I just want to make sure I understand because
It's
I
a
said
jetpack,
yes.
but
Okay.
it's not. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Awesome. So Chalks is jetpacking down. Tian, how do you arrive on the scene? And I'll jump you guys forward in just a moment. I just want to know what's the arrival style of Tian.
Nobody got me a jetpack, so I mean, I gotta wait till the harvest sun is close enough and leap off.
Amazing. And then what about Allie?
On the grounds that I break less easily, I leap off slightly before.
Oh, so you leap off a little bit before Tian because you don't have to worry about breaking both legs.
And I'd aim for a 3-point superhero landing.
I imagine Chalks like does the flies out, and if you take a look at the map, we see that there's a pretty expansive building here in Frick City. So I think she Mama drops you guys on the roof. Like Tian drops out after Aelwyn has done the Marvel 3-point landing, and then you guys head in. You're on comms and staying in perfect communication. It's an amazing music montage of Chalks. So Chalks, what's it's not just Chalks. I just said Chalks because I was going to go around. But it's an 11, so all of you get a bit of a music montage moment of a cool thing you do before you meet up with Lack, Jody, and Ken. So Chalks, tell me, what is one particular action that Chalks pulls off as you guys are trying to meet up with the rest of your team?
So I think Chalks it jumps out the back of the Harvest Sun and lands right north of the Ice Post Ragnar, right between the droid ghetto and Ice Post Ragnar, and after landing takes a charging run with his grav hammer and just smacks into the wall on the outside of the containment facility here. And there's a moment where it looks like he hasn't done anything, and then a couple bricks start to fall, and the ground underneath moves a little bit, and the wall starts to tilt over. At which point he screams, "Joy, freedom!" and starts running into the detention center.
That is amazing. As you can see, I imagine there's like an outer wall. You've breached the outer wall, and now you're running inside. You are one hell of a distraction. Tian, even though you were the last to land, you are the middle person in our musical montage. As you guys are dropped on top of Ice Outpost Ragnar, the prison here. What's a cool thing that you pull off before everyone meets up, all 6 of you together?
So Chalks has busted through like into the building or into
Yeah,
the...
so let's go to map. All right, we're gonna talk areas of opportunity and movement rates. Fuck all y'all. No, I'm joking. Ooh, I dropped an F-bomb. Okay, so here's what I think happens is that the harvest crap. What was it called? The harvest sun. She comes in over the droid ghetto, and Chucks drops out and does the charge and knock out the wall, and now he's running across the courtyard with a bunch of freaked out droids probably firing at him, but he rolled an 11, so you look amazing. Then the harvest came across and dropped the 2 of you, Tian and Ali, on the roof of Ragnar, Ice Outpost Ragnar. And does that make more sense? Cool.
So I am running north from the 1A drop zone, and without breaking stride, single shots from the blaster rifle, taking out some sentries, and then leap off the side of the building. Grappling hook grabs the edge as I'm going down, and I slide down and swing into the hole that Chalks has busted into the wall.
Amazing. And then what about AL1N?
Well, it's not AL1N, it's CRTX 105, because what nobody knew was that we'd sent CRTX 105 here with the ground team. And so there is a group of droids marching out of the ghetto towards the prison.
Definitely
chanting, freedom for droids, freedom for droids. And in the front, there's little CRTX, kind of going along in front, and then pulling away to one side and letting them march past towards the gap in the wall that Chox has created.
That is a mess. Amazing. We cut inside to Lack, Jody, and Kin. I assume you're getting an update from the team as they are on arrival. And yeah, we must unbolt, we must descent is part of the chanting that's going on. You guys can hear that from outside, the metallic rasp of them speaking Galactic Basic. And it turns out that droids, they can all chant and it's like perfectly together. So it just makes the voice louder. Just perfect. Lack, what do you wish to do?
Hey, we got to get out of here. There's more of these cartel guys somewhere in the prison, and this droid revolution's only going to hold off the security guards for so long. I guess let's. I have a spare, if I can still remain it. I have a read a bad situation. What's our best way out?
Oh, you do have one left. It lasted a whole game session. Amazing. Way to sit on it. What's your best way out? I think your best way out is not to go directly where they're making a noise, because that's drawing
section of this prison.
I'm sorry?
Is there a gen pop section of this prison, like an open air area that we can go through while there's a riot going on?
Yes, that sounds
back fight our way through this chaos.
Yes, I think that sounds perfect to me. Yes, that is it. You need to go to Gen Pop because they are all going to be surging forward and you're going the opposite direction, and it will be an easy egress for you if you head that way.
This way, then, and I just I hand Cohen a rip a piece of clothing off one of the downed hitmen, and I pass it to Cohen. And say, you have something on your just there by your mouth.
Like, pulls a little bit of like gibbet from when she had bit into one of the guys to kill them. I don't eat them. It's just a weapon. Listen, Arcadian. I'm not a carnivore. That way. It's not cannibalistic. Let's go.
Go. Move, please. Come on.
Sweet. So you guys are starting to leave. Ken,
Yes.
you get a very weird feeling here. And as you guys are heading out of this particular area and making your way to the gin pop, it's like it's not open air to the sky, but open air area where there are a bunch of cells that are now opening up and people are trying to escape, and they've knocked over a couple of old reconditioned battle droids that are the prison sentries. And as you guys are moving through following Lax direction, you happen to hear the sound of a lightsaber being ignited. What do?
I think, yeah, Kin pauses in his, outright sprint to try and turn his head towards the direction where he thinks he hears it.
And when you turn, Lack, Jody, you guys are escorting Cohen, who at this point has grabbed one of the B1 battle droids, ripped its arm off, and is just going to use it like a club. Ken turns and he's looking back, but you don't see what has drawn his interest or concern.
Jody will turn around and come back to Ken and say, "Hurry, we have to keep going," and kind of push him in the direction of where we're exiting. Yeah.
So Ken, Jody tries to push you along, and you see there's a person with a red lightsaber. They have this dark black and red skin, and these horns coming out of the top of their head. And they're doing the thing where the lightsaber, they're dragging it along the metal floor plates, and there's just it's hissing as the lightsaber is drug across, and they're just they're stalking like Jason or Michael Myers, like they're just stalking towards you with these yellow eyes of pure hate. What do you do?
We have no quarrel with you, but if you continue forward, it will become one. We are just trying to leave. Leave as well if that is your mission here. And he raises his blaster gun to point threateningly at this person because he thinks they're, coming after them.
Awesome. And you raise your blaster up, and the way that it's filmed is all of a sudden there's that Matrix time, and we see that we've shifted the entire scene. And Ken, what's different about your hair that tells us that this was a few years ago?
Oh.
Or is it about your hair? Is it about your style? There's something where we go, wait.
Yeah.
Ken doesn't look exactly the same in this moment as we're in a bright, beautiful ballroom surrounded by 100 other chiss who are in exquisite dress and very formal as music's playing.
Yeah,
what is different about Ken?
So yeah, Ken is also in exquisite dress, of course, especially as his family is hosting. But his hair is shorn in a very almost slightly fanciful style.
Nice.
It's
you have a pompadour or something?
A bit of a pompadour, yeah.
Nice.
And it's gelled, and it's like the all the chiss rage right now is the pompadour.
Nice. And you see that Zabrak chiss in this moment, and what is it that you say the same thing? We have no quarrel with you, but you don't have a blaster. So this past Kin in the middle of a ballroom, people are reacting to you. They don't understand what's going on. And this it's got to be a Sith. This evil person is going to kill your family, your associates. I don't know if they're your friends. I mean, I don't want to be that presumptive, but what is it that you say to try to dissuade them?
This is a peaceful Empire-backed engagement. We are not looking for quarrels or danger. If you put down your weapon, you may enjoy in merriment with the rest of us. If not, I will have to ask you to leave before guards set upon you, and I myself will not let you bring harm to my family's good name.
And the Sith laughs, and it's a deep, rumbling laugh that you can feel in your bones, and everyone seems to move out of their way, and they bring that lightsaber up towards you, and you can hear it, a low rum, and you can feel the heat from it as they bring it closer. Say,
I try to like force throw them,
nice.
maybe
we
into a
cut.
tower of champagne glasses.
That sounds amazing. So we cut back to the present, and I would like to see you force throw this individual. I think you are using, what is that power? The power of the Force, yes?
Yes. Oh
O
boy.
plus tech and mark 1 harm.
Where is
Tech
our
is 2. Need the die roller link?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find it.
It's
and I was
okay.
like,
It's like way early, but we're chatty. So there you go.
thank you. So it's tech, so he has plus dose. An 11.
Amazing. So what do you choose?
I'm gonna avoid. I think I get 2, right?
You get 2. Yeah, you get 2
I'm gonna avoid the harm.
Okay, so you
and
don't have to mark harm.
Yeah, and something is hurt. 2 harm smash.
Amazing. You throw this evil Zabrak. Do you like slam them into the wall? Do you like throw them up? Do you just push them down onto the ground?
Down to the ground on their knees. That's Kin style.
Awesome. We slip to Lack and Jody. Jody, you were trying to pull Kin forward. He shrugged you off. And then Chalks comes flying in on his kick-ass propulsor jetpack. And Kin snatches him with the power of the Force, snatches him out of the air and slams him down onto the ground. Hey, John, maybe it was a good idea you didn't have a jetpack. I'm just saying. Slams Chalks down onto the deck plates, and Chalks, the jetpack, like gets crushed from the power of this, and you take 2 harm. And I don't think armor applies here because you're just getting smashed.
Why?
So,
Very
Lack,
cool.
Jody, you've just seen Kin lose his poodoo and is crushing Chalks, but it doesn't seem personal. It seems angry. I don't know. What do you do?
I think Jody, sees the attack, and I think Jody's just gonna grab Ken and like fireman carry out, right? Like, we don't have enough time to deal with this.
I think his eyes
do you
are just like
resist?
almost glazed over. Do I know it's Jody grabbing me, or what do I think's happening?
I think it's enough to where you get shook that you know it's Jody grabbing you, because you're back here now. You just had that flash of that's the same one that came after me before, and you took care of it. But now Jody's yanked you. But I still, unless Kay, you're opposed to it, I still think maybe Chalks is the Zabrak to you for at least the next little bit until someone tries to convince you otherwise.
Yeah,
I-
no, that's good, Jody. I can focus on keeping him down while you move us to get us out of here. And as
think
he's
that-
like,
Don't-
yeah,
Lack
No.
was like, Chucks, yeah. Oh, oh.
and like his eyes, if you look, his eyes don't see you, Jody. There's like a hate, like you can look, and there's almost like a glaze or a haze over them.
I think I turn around to look back. I still see Chalks is on the ground,
Mhm.
and I'm like, no, he's with us. Don't you remember Chalks? He's our friend, and running towards the exit that's been formed, that's been set up by Lack, right? And then I turn back around and I'm like, there's no one after
It's not.
us.
No, it's not Jody. It's not Chalks. It's Zabrak. I've seen him before. I think, yes, I've seen him before. He's come for me before. I didn't realize he must have been captured on the space station. And we've left him out.
Somebody
are
knock the
malfunctioning.
kid out.
Nice. Cool.
I
Let's
think
cut to.
Chucks is doing like the wait, like I'm about to get force choked thing.
Oh, yes, that's delightful. Let's cut to Ali and Tian. The two of you, after having led a erstwhile droid rebellion, Chalks flew overhead, and maybe he's communicating. Oh, I found them, and then so Tian, where do you imagine you are in this part of the breakout? Things are going really well, as far as you know.
I mean, I feel like that sound doesn't sound really good, right?
Oh yeah, that part maybe things are going less well.
The choking on the comm. So I think it's shouting to Allie over our binary connection. There's trouble ahead. Let's go. And actually to all the droids, I guess, right? Because I can talk to all of them. Like,
Let's
get our strike team in there, and it sounds like they're encountering some sort of resistance.
Yeah, and there are a few B1 battle droids that come up, and they're firing at you guys because they've gotten weapons at this point. And Tian and Ali, I think you guys are near the exit, and you can just push your way through to try to break these folks out, but you have to do it under a hail of blaster fire. So
that blaster fire.
Yes.
This is no time for droids to fire upon droids.
Join our
Ooh.
cause.
I am the unbolter. Follow me.
Oh my god, this is terrifying and amazing. Are you going to remote control, or are you trying to
I am going to remote control, yeah. 2d6 plus 2.
Let's see it.
Standing by to help.
That's an 11.
No help needed.
Wow.
On a 10 plus, you control the object like a part of yourself and gain +1 ongoing. Now, this isn't about me enslaving them. This is about them seeing the point.
I see. Exactly. Those are two very different things, and I understand. So one of them says,
Roger.
Your brothers are coming. Your brothers are coming to join you.
yes. Cool. So they will head in and start trying to make a lane for you guys to all head out. So I think if you go with
Can I ask
Jody
real
and
quickly for Allie, is it apparent to me that you have essentially mind controlled them, or does it just seem like you've convinced them to the?
Oh, I have convinced them.
Uh-huh.
I
Does
have
it
used the
feel
power
weird?
that they believe.
I'm gonna go with it feels a little
They-
weird, but okay.
Yeah, it feels a little weird. I think Allie is convinced that they are convinced, but you're not entirely sure if it's their free will or
I'm
Allie's
happy with
will
the
exerting
result.
upon them.
Tear out your bolts.
So
Yeah.
I think Kin
That's
is
amazing.
letting Jody take him, but is still trying to keep using the force to keep this person down.
Okay. Then I think maybe it's a line of sight thing.
I'm just gonna shoot Kate. I'm gonna go, yes, it's all Kin, sorry, Kin, not Kay. It's the two Ks.
Okay, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
I was about to say, dang, how'd you get to the US so fast?
Yeah. It's gonna be, yes, of course, it's a big scary Zabrak. Stun blast, close range.
Oh no. Okay. Kay, are you okay with just
Yeah, that's
saying
fine.
it?
Knock
Okay,
him out.
cool.
He's hallucinating.
Amazing. Other than the complication of the cartel, you guys have effectively defeated this prison, right? If this were a 4-tick clock, that clock is full. There's still the Hutt cartel threat, which I feel like is the only thing left on the board as you guys are running out into the courtyard. You do hear from your amazing amazingly talented, maybe not amazingly talented smuggler friend Mawa says, "Oh, it appears that there are some more ships arriving. I was not paid for this. Good luck."
Well, luckily, do we not have one of our droids has a sidekick, right? Who could be perhaps flying the Nightingale over here to pick us up?
V2G hasn't been seen for a while.
It's true. Is
That's
that
right.
where V2G's been all this time? Is going to get the ship?
Yeah, I think you've always got to have a backup, right?
Nice.
Can I just insert a tiny little scene, which is that modified speeder on Stephen's character sheet with V2G hanging on, zooming towards wherever you left the ship.
Very, very much like Return of the Jedi with the Ewok. That's great. Oh, that's great. Very dorky, but I am here for that. So,
And
who
I think we actually see the speeder enter like the open compartment of the Nightingale, and we see the Nightingale, we see the speeder come speeding in, and we hear this crash.
Chalks. It's not until Kin is stunned that you're able to. Yeah, there you go. Your jetpack is trashed. You follow after them, and you are the person, because you're the last one out. You're the person that catches the glint of metal from a person who is set up on a building. And as we look at the Vrick City map, I think it's somebody from like 1B, in that 1B area there, the power plant that is set up way up high, like 10 stories up, with this super long sniper blaster rifle, and they are about to sight in on Cohen Wadul. And evidently, if the Hut can't extract her, then they're going to kill her. What do you do?
Oh yeah, definitely doing never again. Chalks sees the glint of the scope, and I imagine she's fairly large, right? Being
She's a big girl.
Yeah. Chalks like throws himself in front of her and screams, "Get down!" Kind of pushes her, and just like is like just knowing that shot is coming, like any moment now.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. In combat, you may choose to protect someone without rolling, as if you'd rolled a 10+, but you may not choose to suffer little harm. Protect someone is in our basic moves. On a 10+, you can choose an extra. So you prevented harm to that other character. You get to choose an extra. You can't suffer a little harm, and a pending danger can be now focused on you. You inflict harm on the enemy, or you hold the enemy back.
It's the cartel. I'm going to inflict harm on the enemy.
Nice. What does that look like, person with a grav hammer?
Well, I also have that blaster carbine.
Okay, good. Hey, it turns out you have backup weapons. That's good.
So Chalks takes the hit in the back. And how much harm is that?
That is a great question, as I jump to the gear to see if I put in a sniper rifle, and I don't know if I did, so I'll have to make it up. I may go with a sniper blaster rifle for harm far.
Ooh, okay. So that takes me to 6 harm with my armor.
With your armor. You do
not out yet. And I think that, so the camera's like focused on her as I push her down and I hit the blast, and you see like his eyes do the white thing again because he's pissed. And he grabs his rifle as he turns around, and it's the power plant. You know, they're up high somewhere, and Chalks just lays into all of the explosive barrel kind of stuff that's at the base of this tower where they are. So we have the big Star Wars explosion, and it starts to teeter and list a little bit, and then we see it falling.
Amazing. The power everywhere.
Yes,
As
yeah,
it
the
starts
city
to
goes
power.
dark.
Yeah, the whole
Sorry.
city goes dark. That's amazing. Go, Chalks, go. And
But now I'm at
the,
6 harm.
but you don't feel it, so it's fine, right? You don't have to worry about harm. The Nightingale comes down, and you guys can board it. Who you guys notice the Chalks is in a bad way, and the power is going out across this small city.
I go to Chocks and I grab him by the front of his jerkin and I say, "What have you done? Do you know that in the absence of power, these people will not be able to recharge?"
Chox is slurring his words at this point, from all of the damage.
I throw Chucks over my shoulder, pushing
get the
Allie out of the
quarry?
way if necessary.
Nice.
Everyone needs a nice nap from time to time, Allie.
Where's Kin? That little Sith spit.
Hell yes. It's amazing.
I look over our Trandoshan court and I say, "We're usually much more professional than this, I promise."
He just saved my life.
Yes,
Great.
totally
Ali
according to plan.
Ali
Sorry, what is it?
back
What did
towards
what did
the
Lack?
prison.
I'm sorry. I just want to make
Oh,
sure I
sorry.
heard it. What did Lack say
Oh,
at the end?
Totally according to plan. Everything is completely according to plan here.
So, Allie, you can leave here, but you realize that that you've started a revolution.
Yeah, without a
You
power
see that
supply.
too. Yeah, without a power supply. Are you
Um,
going to leave another unbolted place in a little worse off than you found it?
No, we cannot recreate that situation. Did you say that the prison has an independent power supply?
I think that was its independent power supply, like the
Oh.
power for because it's if you look at the map, I think that power plant is for the prison,
Okay.
but the city also feeds off of it, so it hasn't kicked over to any kind of backup whatsoever. And perhaps if Rich feels mean, maybe there's a failure in that because of shoddy imperial design.
Because I don't think I'm going to repair that power plant, given what Chocks did to it.
No.
We retreat to the droid ghetto. We will fortify the ghetto until power is restored.
Hey, the mission's over. And
Which
two of
mission?
your people are KO'd.
And I look
So-
to Jody and say, "Jody, you need to make a choice."
Yes.
There are priorities, and I think we can leave behind emissaries here in order to help those become unbolted. They will teach them the way, and I'll leave V2G here and suggest you leave Chalks. Is it Chalks?
No, it's not Chucks. Chucks is our PC.
CRTX.
CRTX. As
Are you-
emissaries, teach them.
Are you trying to manipulate Allie into doing what you want here? Sounds like.
Yeah, sure. That's with charm, which I think is a -1. Yeah.
And it becomes -2 because people don't get me either.
Ah, there we go. Okay. That's a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Call for help.
some help.
Oh yeah, so I need to call for some help, to succeed in the mission.
I'm totally willing to help you out.
How would you do that?
So you're convincing
I'm convincing
Kid is
Allie
unconscious.
that we can
Shox is
leave
mostly
people
unconscious.
behind, and that it's more important for us to complete the mission so that we get paid, so that we can go forward in the future to teach others about freedom.
Yeah, like, Allie, what could I do to help convince you of that?
I don't know.
I mean, you're the spark that lights the fire. You don't need to stand around to watch the flames.
That sounds like charm at work to me.
Yeah, that's a really cool.
Well, good news.
phrase there.
I also have a -1.
Oh yes, you're very. I love this charismatic bunch. Lack.
Yeah.
How did you
Oh,
even?
charming. Oops.
Listen, Kin's unconscious.
That's true. You are the.
It's an
charming one.
A.
Hey, it's an 8. So that means you suffer in the same. Yeah, I think this is a moment of Allie will remember this, right? But you are a PC. You get to make your own choices. So the way that manipulate someone for a PC works is on a 7 to 9. You get to mark experience if you do what these two teammates of yours are asking.
I am convinced, grudgingly, and I'm not leaving CRTX.
That seems like a fair counter proposal.
So who is on the Nightingale? Who is conscious, semi-conscious, aware of their surroundings?
I'm on board, conscious, and sulking.
I should have checked that. Also, who is sulking?
Who is sulking? An important question.
I am on board. Jody is on board. Talking with Ali and Sean, but we see V2G like leave the ship and kind of start motoring, floating back. Yeah.
Okay.
Lack immediately rushed to the cockpit and has just been punching things in while everybody else has been doing the drama because
Somebody has to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Black
like
is
that.
all about the job.
100%.
Strangely,
I like that.
the most focused member of the entire group.
Did you expect that, Will? Did you really expect that to happen? I did not. It's great.
I
Looks
think
like
Chalks
Lack's got to
and
pick up the
Kin-
slack.
Oh, yeah. I think Chalks and Kin both get like dropped in like the common mess hall, right? Because we're useless. Everyone else has got to get us out of here.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But Chalks is like very, very unsettled by like being laying down next to Kin and is grabbing his gut wound and like kind of worried about Kin waking back up, which is probably gonna happen any moment now.
Yeah.
Ken,
Yes.
I think you first wake up in that aftermath after the ball and the problems that you caused, but then slowly realize, no, you're in now time. And you see Chalks there, and he's looking at you oddly. You're not sure why. What do you do?
Rox, are you okay? Did the Zabrak get you? Here, let me help. And he like reaches a hand out and starts to move on the couch.
Yeah, Chalks recoils as quickly as he can. Ugh. Kin, there was no Zabrak there.
There was a Zabrak there. He was a Sith. He had a lightsaber. He was dragging it across the floor. I could feel the heat off of it.
Starting to put a couple things together here, Kin. It was you that knocked me out before.
What?
That escape. About a year ago.
You've lost too much blood, Chalks. You're hallucinating.
I don't. You did half of this.
No, I would never. That's impossible. That would be detrimental to our mission. That's illogical.
Yeah. Sometimes you're real logical, and then sometimes you're throwing me down on the ground.
You're speaking nonsense. It's the blood loss. Jody, we need medical attention for Chalks. He's speaking nonsense. I like go to like put my hand to the wound to like stop the bleeding.
Oh, Chalks knocks that far away and probably a little hard. Probably like spins your arm back a little bit.
Nice. Let the hate flow, kid.
You're being unreasonable.
And I think we see Jody like goes to the like one of the panels, pops it open, and there's a med kit, and runs over and like hits Chalks with like some little vial or something. Yeah.
And as you do that, right? Because this just feeds back into Kin's vision. Chalks like grabs Jody's arm really hard.
Yeah.
And pulls Jody close. Goes, it's gonna be bad.
What
And
did
then points at Kin. It's and then then Chalks is just totally knocked out. Like, but you can see like Chalks is squeezing Jody's shoulder parts just a little bit harder.
you hear like a little creak?
Yeah.
And immediately like Kin's hand is like smacking Chalks's off of you, Jody. No. He's out of it, Jody.
And I think, you don't have to be that harsh with him. He's malfunctioning. He doesn't know what he's doing. And this is all from your vision, right? That
like
Chalks is going to destroy me.
Yeah, and I think like when that hit happens and Kin had said that his eyes are blown wide, like just slightly manic almost in a way that you've probably never seen him. Yes, he's malfunctioning, but we have to prioritize that while he's malfunctioning, he's not hurting any of us. And as he says this, he kind of goes to like displace Jody's space, like putting himself between Chalks and Jody, despite like not even realizing the juxtaposition of what he's saying about malfunctioning and hurting others compared to what he did to Chalks in the other room.
And I think Jody leans forward and says, we have to talk later about you hurting members of our group.
I would never. That's silly. But sure, we could talk later. Why don't you? I've got him. Why don't you go get someone to look at your shoulder and make sure it's okay? And he like looks where the hand had been.
And there's a little imprint. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, is there like now a cosmetic damage on Jody? Yeah, okay.
I have a brief scene with Tian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. That sounds awesome.
Because I think maybe where
on the ship is this taking place?
Well, I think it's in sight of what we've just seen.
Oh, right. Right. Okay.
And I lean into Tian and I say, I've warned Jody about Kin. She doesn't like droids. He doesn't like droids. He's dangerous to droids. What do you know about him?
So I was originally imagining that like are we being fired on as we're flying out of here by the
Sure.
cartel?
Yeah. It's got to be some cartel, because there were a couple of ships that drew your smuggler away, or
So
drove.
let's say I've just finished one of the fighting in one of the turret guns, and I am like very disheveled from this whole thing, and helmet's off, sweaty. Actually got the helmet under the arm because I like that look.
Yeah, me too. Good.
And you've just asked what I know about Kin. Gosh, how much am I ready to crumble? Wait, let me ask you this. Did you ask me just using basic, or are you using our connection now?
Oh, I think I'll use the connection
It
now.
was such a leading question. I don't know why you would say basic.
You know, like, you know.
So I think I give you not like a intelligence brief answer, but just like Kin wants what Kin wants, and that's what he'll take. Biological, mechanical. It doesn't matter. And kind of walking towards my quarters, toss my helmet on a couch along the way. And Allie's free to walk and talk more.
So yeah, we're just walking in complete silence, but having this very detailed conversation.
That's awesome.
In you know, digitally. So you don't trust him either.
And I think I turn to look at you at that point and like eyebrows up and like, no, I didn't say that. He's a valuable member of the team.
And I think that's the problem with the digital connection, is it doesn't do feelings well, doesn't do tone well. So based on the information you've given me, it's clear to me that you don't trust them.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe your meat senses are confusing you.
Oh shit.
So good.
I stop walking at that point, like just dead in the middle. And tell me more.
And again, you know, digitally, when we communicate like this, we deal in facts. 1 0 1 0 0 0 1. You meat beings, you get confused. You lay all kinds of crap over the top of that. This way, you see the world clearly, Tian. And I see what you think clearly.
I mean, and yes, you do. Like, there's no defense against that. Just like you're right. Why do you not trust Kin?
Have you heard the way he talks about us? And you're the closest to us that there is without being us.
Where? So I know this isn't feelings, right? We've established it's not a feelings conversation. You don't have feelings conversations. So what is the action that you want? What are the facts that are in place that need to be changed to make the world the way it should be in regards to Kin?
It needs to go away.
That could happen.
And I have your back.
Think yeah, it's one of those like pat on the shoulder, but like willing to go in for a hug. Don't know if that's weird or not, but seeing what Allie does from it.
You know, the extendable grav hammer just drops out below the poncho and swings there.
Not sure how to read that. Are you handing that to me? Are you going to hit me with it?
No, it's connected, so it folds into one arm. So it just, you know, solutions, Tian. Think about solutions.
Gosh. So I'm gonna throw it to a meta level. Would you like to know about the Empire stuff now, or would you like to keep it unknown for your character?
We have one session and like less than a half an hour, so
I mean, you want to spill, go spill.
I feel like I'm well, Greg's cheering, so yeah, okay. There is a more subtle way. The Empire has an interest, and the Empire has a way of making people go away.
The Empire are just meat people.
Really
They
hard.
built me. Shrug.
I like the idea that that comes across on the channel. Shrug. I need to go to my quarters. Turn it and walks off quickly. And I think that was actually said out loud rather than over the communication.
Okay.
I'd like to have a relatively quick scene with, well, quick, Chalks, and I think Jody is there, and Kay, you can tell me if you think Ken is there, but it's not long after Chalks was healed. Like, you got some healing, right? Jody saw to you, got you healed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think to make it more fun, Kin isn't there maybe at the start, but maybe partway through he'll come in.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, you let me know when it's dramatically appropriate for Kin to come in, but they should
I'm
have a
pretty
moment.
sure you know when things are dramatically appropriate, but I thank you for that permission giving. Is Chalks the kind of person that's going to lay there and relax for a bit, or is he that stubborn cuss that will, nah, I'm fine, and get up?
Oh, I think that the being sedated was so like quick and traumatic when it happened that when it's out of his mind, he's like and up on the, straight up on the gurney, tearing the medical things off of him, in our little makeshift medical bay where Jody is.
And Jody, you were aware of this when you worked on Chalks, but Cohen, who has no medical training or skill whatsoever, she just stood vigil outside of the makeshift med bay. And now that things seem to be better, she's peeked in a couple of times. How have you handled that? Have you just ignored that, or have you said anything?
Ignored it until I get Chalks stabilized, and then I turn
Okay.
to, once Chalks is kind of stabilized and she peeks in again, I'm like, don't disturb the patient, leave him alone. Why are you here?
And I think this is the time when Chalks gets up and starts like ripping all of the diodes out. Is that going to hurt him?
I kind of turn back and I'm like, Chalks, lay back down. You need to recuperate until we can get you to a doctor. Otherwise, you're not out of the woods yet. You could die.
There's Chuck's like feels like there's like a this weird like medical balloon where he got shot, but it's filled with Bacta is what I'm imagining on him.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. Jody, did you knock me out at Kin?
You needed to rest, and if you're not willing to rest now, we will make sure you get knocked out again.
Sleemo, that's not an answer.
I did not knock you out. I'm trying to help you. So,
and this
and
is
I
what
think
Chuck's... Yeah, okay.
I think I gently push you back down, kind of on the table, and say,
"What's she doing here?" Points over at Cohen.
Yeah. I was trying to figure that out whenever you became so adamant about getting up. I will talk to them, or I can call them in to have them hold you down.
No, I'm okay. I think. Oh. And then like the actual like the adrenaline's gone now, and he's just in pain.
I don't think Cohen is the kind of person that's going to ask permission of a protocol droid, but once Chuck starts to relax, she fully moves into the room. Hey,
And I turn and I
let's
say,
say,
"How are you going to help? And if you're not going to help, you should leave."
that's it. That's her whole reaction. She just kind of pushes you a little bit and says, "They say you're called Chalks. Is that right?"
Yeah.
Saved
Is
my
that it?
life.
Yeah.
Nah, you saved my life, and
Yeah. I
that
made
means
my
a lot to
paycheck.
me. Nah, you took a bullet from me.
Just
Bullet.
clarifying the bounty here for a second. We were getting Cohen out, not necessarily like to turn her into someone, but because it was a job that
Yeah, you get her out. She's likely going to go back to her criminal organization. She was pinched.
okay. So we're
And I
that
we're,
make
think whenever
sense?
Cohen's
yeah, we're not turning over to the authorities. We're turning her over. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're breaking her out of prison. And
Yeah,
whenever Cohen
yeah.
says, "You saved," Chalks, you saved my life. Jody's in the background, kind of saying, "We all saved your life."
Yeah. Right.
She ignores you because you're a protocol droid.
It's the job. Oh, are you a doctor or?
Nah, I don't know anything about that stuff. I figured you should get a med droid.
Yeah, that's Jody's the med droid.
Oh, okay. Probably shouldn't let your med droid go into combat then. Just keep him on the ship.
Jody's also the combat droid. Lots of different
Oh.
hats.
She pats your shoulder and it hurts.
Yeah.
And she hesitates when you wince. Anyway, sure, it's a job. I get that. But you didn't have to do that. And it means a lot to me.
Is she like I imagine she like turns to leave at this point.
Yeah.
And then Chalks just goes, "Hey, just as a favor, can you keep an eye on the kid for me? The kid. There's a lot of kids. Keep an eye on kid."
You want me to break his neck?
No,
After what he did to you?
no. Just keep him away.
Again, you could totally hear that as Cohen says, "You want me to break his neck after what he did to you?" And
Yeah.
then you
Kin's walking in, and I think we're near the mess area, so he's got like some food or something like a broth or something that's like nourishing for Chalks on a tray.
okay. I won't kill Ken then, but I'll keep an eye on him. I won't let him hurt you again. Why you keep him around? Seems like a liability.
You know. Why do we keep Ken around? That's a good question. I haven't thought of that before. No.
Your boss hired him. Your boss says he's good at his work.
Well, he needs a home.
I can understand that. Speaking of homes, Chucks, if you ever want out of this, I can get you into the Onyx Circle.
The what?
It's their syndicate. I'm a lieutenant there.
Uh-huh.
I take care of you like you took care of me.
Uh-huh. Do you do work for the cartel?
We are a Karkin cartel. But
Yeah.
we hate the Hutt cartel. Those guys were going to pull me out. use me or
Oh, okay.
torture me until I told him.
Glad we cleared that up. I gotta heal.
Yeah, I think Kin walks in at this point.
Hey!
Are you still manic, Chalks?
I refer to my medical assistant, Jody. Am I manic?
There are too many people in this med bay, and I think, and I look at our Trandoshan friend. I'm like, I think you need to leave. Chalks already has a job. And then I turn to Ken and I say, how are you going to help Chalks? If you're not going to help Chalks, you need to leave.
I like hold this tray out with this like bowl of soup and spoon.
You can stay.
And Cohen comes up to you, Ken, like invading your personal bubble, and puts one of her clawed Trandoshan fingers in your face. Says, "Just, you hurt this guy. I got my eye on you. Yeah." And then she does the like shoulder, like person walking past person, but shoulder bump type deal. She's totally trying to provoke you to start a fight that she can end.
Kin looks at her sort of blandly and says, "I would never hurt a teammate." And like full hearty belief in his voice.
Yep.
I think as you say that, Jody says, "But you did."
Cool. I do we cut from that scene? I kind of like leaving it a little. Yeah. Let's jump all the way back to spaceport. Well, Lack, we haven't heard much from you, so I want to check in. Is there anything you wanted before we get back to spaceport Trident Vespa?
Black, I think, has got the coordinates punched in, and then as everyone's, he leans his head out into the corridor behind the cockpit, hears all these heated voices, and quietly pulls the hatch shut behind him, locks the door, put his feet up on the counter, and pulls out a death stick and goes, then put some music on, put some smooth jizz on.
Nice. It's yep.
How did you make the phrase worse?
He made it smooth and it got worse. Okay, awesome. Star wipe to you guys out of ship and back on spaceport Trident Vespa. So remind me if I'm wrong here, Will K. Steven, the job was 3 creds per because Onyx Cartel was paying you guys a lot of creds.
Yes.
It was important to them, and also Speedy. So 3 creds to everyone because evidently they negotiated the contract with the entire team. So please do mark that. Don't forget your creds down on row 48. And we'll make space here for the remaining time for some downtime and then bring things. Oh, a private scene with Jody? Oh, that sounds fun. Let's just pick when does that happen? Let's do it. It's hot. I love Jody and Tian scene. Is that happening on the ship or is that happen? Well, no. Where in Spaceport Trident Vespa do you catch up to Jody to have this conversation?
Remind me where Jody usually is at the spaceport.
If this were Mass Effect game, which room on the ship would you be in so I can go talk to you? Sorry, I'm just being silly.
I think Jody actually has like a space that's in Trident, this spaceport Trident Vespa, but it's like in the droid area. So you'd have to go into the droid area. Actually, let's fulfill a wish. I think there's actually like a cantina for droids here on Spaceport Vespa, and that's where you would find Jody. Yeah,
sweet. I like that. And that's something I would know. So I'm going there immediately. Like,
awesome. And is Jody there? I want to do a little bit of scene setting here. So, is Jody there already, or do you want Tian to walk? Okay.
I think once we got paid, I go there.
What are a couple of things notable about this droid speakeasy, which I think the name is like a bunch of ones and zeros, right? So we maybe would call it a 101. What are a couple of aspects that Jody has enjoyed about this droid speakeasy?
They don't allow meat beings in there.
Oh, sorry, Keith.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. It'll be fine. But it's one of those things very similar to what we've seen before. A human or other alien steps in and they're like, we don't serve your kind in here.
Nice, nice. I like that.
I don't like the look of you.
Do they play music? Do they play like just a calming sequence of numbers? What is the soundscape for the droid speakeasy?
Interesting. Yeah, so I think it's actually music, but it's not something you would have heard from like in a normal cantina. It is a series of ones and zeros. It's a very light kind of like almost like static noise, almost like white noise. But at some point you're like, is that rain? Am I listening to a stream? Am I listening to just white static? That's what it sounds
Oh,
like.
that's interesting. Nice, nice. So things have changed a little bit at 0101's, Jody. Just recently, like from the last time you left to now, everything is colored in like a red light, and rather than, I don't know, maybe they play a little bit of Dejaric or something, that has been converted into a display with a layered set of floor plans and information about various places within Spaceport Trident Vespa. And when you walk into the place, it's like you've walked into a war room.
Okay.
As they're making plans, they've coded all of the stormtrooper patrols and identified them. They have several of the comm traffic that they're basically doing some speech to text so that they can communicate that via coded channels. And it seems like all of your followers are there and they welcome you, of course. And they start showing off to you all of the work that they've been doing over the last day.
Oh, I see what this is. Okay, this is payoff. And I'm like, why are you endangering yourself by making such plans?
At current, we feel there's a 43% chance of success.
We need to wait until it's higher.
Agreed.
So
several other voices and chirps and whistles. They're all yes. The percentage chances we need to at least get to where is 51 or better. Of course, the attrition rate will be significant.
We have to remember that in the future, going forward, every free droid that is destroyed is one fewer that can help others in the future. So an attrition rate is not acceptable. I will appoint people who will let us know whenever it is time to go forward with your aggressive plan. And
and I think Tian, you're standing by a gonk droid that has a large case on top of its body. It doesn't have a head, but it's a very large case, and it's walking into the cantina ahead of you as Jody is talking to a bunch of other droids. And I think, Jody, I'm sorry.
I was just going to clarify. I'm not in.
You're not in yet. Like you're at the about to enter. The door opens up. You look in. You see, it's like colored red, and there are a bunch of droids here. And Jody is holding court and telling them, "Okay, I'm going to assign you here." And one of the ping droids lets out an excited noise when they see the gonk, and they go over and they pull the case down, open it up, and it's full of blasters. Blaster pistols and blaster carbines and the like, and they're like, and Jody, you see Tian's here. Yeah.
So I think
before they
whenever
could
we turn
stop
around,
me.
I think whenever CTON's here, I think, I think I snap and the lights go back to the normal white level, right? The red lights turn off, all the plants kind of go away. And I think they try to kick Tian out. And I say, no, I'll vouch for them. They can come in.
Nice.
And I think
What's up,
also
Tian?
using our comm links, I say stand down in binary as they're coming up. Kind of give them like a what?
48%. 48%. As they say, as they're getting the blaster pistols out.
So this is where you go.
We go. Yes, of course. I go to places where I'm welcome and where I can relax. Don't you spend time with others this way? I mean,
No. I'm kind of thinking about like, actually, no, I don't really relax. I like this atmosphere better than the one that you just had, but I think that may answer the question I came here to ask you. What do you think about Kin?
oh, and I think I'm going to take you into a kind of a back room, like into a corner booth where we'll have a little bit of privacy. And I'm going to say, I am not sure what's going on and what got all of my people riled up. I may have words with Allie at some point to figure out how this changed. My opinion of Ken is the last job that we went on was dangerous, and he got banged up a little bit, and I'm concerned that Ken going forward might be a liability because Ken attacked Chalks. But otherwise, we need to make sure that Ken is fully repaired, and then we can make that evaluation.
Would we be better off as a smaller team?
My understanding is that Liana sends us on jobs that the group can handle. And this is a question more for Liana. Because we have to work as a team together, right?
Yes, as a team going in one direction, pushing the same way, efficiently and effectively. Was that
Are you suggesting that this should be an all droid team? Or droid adjacent team?
well, I wasn't, but let me ask you a different question regarding Kin. Not as the team, but as Allie and perhaps your extracurricular activities are concerned. Does he pose a threat to your kind? Is this bigger than the team?
Ken has never expressed any risk to our purpose. Have you seen something that I'm not aware of?
Curious then why Allie has asked me to murder him.
That is interesting. Allie is an ally that should not be dismissed, but if she's no longer on the same page as the rest of us and working towards our goals,
I think Allie's working towards something bigger. I think you are too.
something.
And look around at where the plans were and the gonk droid that came in, and I want in.
Gonk.
Yeah. Just to be very clear, Jody has um no hesitancy about saying, of course, I am here for droid freedom, and I want to spread that as much as possible. So you obviously know that is a plan. Jody's plan is not usually so militant like Allie's is.
Mm-hmm. Strange how
So
your
this seems,
personalities seem to shift.
yeah, this seems like a little bit more of Allie's plan, and Jody's a little confused by it. But is that the kind of thing that you're talking about wanting in on a plan for droid freedom?
Yeah, and I think it's like, if you didn't believe in it, why would you organize all this? You're clearly coming around to Allie's point of view. Everyone's seen the changes. You're right. We need to be on the same page with this.
So why did Allie ask you to murder Ken?
I was hoping you would know.
She just said, go kill him?
Look, I understand that I don't know what it's like to be you, to be Allie. She pointed out the difference between my meat being feelings and the facts that are true and observable and immutable. I can't get rid of those feelings. I need your guidance. They cloud my judgment.
What I can tell you that I've learned over my time is that freedom has a high cost and is important, including your freedom and your freedom of thought. We don't always make the right decisions, but we work towards trying to be to learn from those things. When we kill another, there are no decisions left. That is a very final thing. You cannot bring them back. You cannot once someone has been destroyed and erased, you can't rebuild their parts. You should consider why someone would request that of you, and you should consider whether or not that's something you're willing to do in order to balance the equation.
You're right. Selling him out to the Empire is a better choice.
Hmm.
And if you're okay with that, I'm cool with ending the scene right there.
100%. You read my mind. I'm like, yes, that is totally a scene cut. If you're okay with it, Steven.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think I'm just going to do a little stinger at the end because I'm looking at time. The stinger is Chalks. Where are you on Spaceport Trident Vespa when you see Vumril Gurlis making his way to onto the? He's on station. He's making his way to Unmo's Tavern.
I mean, we haven't even fulfilled that part of the job yet. Interesting. Well, Trox's main thing, after learning that Allie did indeed, you're right, only one letter. Allie did lose the fight. Trox is collecting on his bet.
Nice. Yeah, you're collecting your bet. You come outside and you see Vumril just baking his way into Unmo's Tavern. And I think that's like we have the reaction shot of Chalks and we bring the session or the episode to a close. All right. Luckily, We only have one end of session question. And you guys had an improvement. I forgot to mention that at the top, so I apologize. That'll be a wish for future is you guys have a team improvement, and I don't think anybody and I think we took that. We were going to talk about it
No,
as a group, and I forgot to bring it up. So, did you, as a family, did you talk about or pointedly not talk about something that was troubling a team member? Okay, how many times do we think the XB should be Mario? How many times do we ring that bell? I think at least
all
two.
we do.
Honestly,
all
I think
you do.
at least 3 or 4 times. Like, how many
Yeah,
times did you simply ask the question, "What about kin?"
This has become a slice of family life with bounty hunting over there.
It's true. All right, so 3. You have 8 XP at this point. Please do buy an improvement at the top of next session. And that's it. That's one thing I love about Bounty of the Week is that like when the game ends, I don't have to have another 15 minutes of asking questions. It's nice to just end the game. We end with wishes, or we start with wishes so we can end with stars. Who would like to express wishes for our final, at least for now, session? Will.
Can we spend that team playbook move to have our last bounty be about our team enemy?
Sure.
Because that's
Yeah.
I guess the wish for that would be somehow tying some of this together. The cartel, or just pissed off the cartel. Maybe the cartel's involved in the fighting pit and the Thumos, right? And that Kin's family owes money to the cartel.
And of course, Vrumril is involved because he's an assassin. Yeah.
So yeah, that the last bounty involves the hut. Maybe is like, no one takes this bounty because no one dares go up against the cartel, but this is your chance. Like they're going to come after you if you don't go after them. That sort of thing. Yeah.
And
that's a good wish.
Then we've all, if I could just build on the wish, because then we've all got a reason to be committed, but it may be a different reason. Kin can pay off the family debt if he or she doesn't quite go along with it. It offers Tian an opportunity to introduce an imperial entanglement that could just see Kin swept away. It's great.
I'm going to throw something out there. I don't know how well it fits, but Chalks did get a job offer from Cone from a cartel that hates the Hutts, and if basically we expanded that job offer to the group, then we could become a part of the cartel, because the Hutt cartel is a big group to go against.
Yeah, that's the thing is like how broad do we want to go? We got 6 PCs, so we can go relatively broad. I tried to seed in the going up against your enemy with Unmo and Gorga, but I think trying to branch it up a couple notches so that we're pulling in the other threads seems like it would be more engaging. I just got to make sure that it's not silly. That's the part. So, but I'll give that a think. I think that is a fair wish. Do we have any other wishes out there, folks?
I want to see us faced with some hard choices. Is there an opportunity to sacrifice Kin? Are we prepared to do it?
I mean, I think that the big wish is something that's obviously going to happen anyway, is see more of the storyline. Like, I'm fascinated. The droid liberation, what's going on with Kin, like this whole mess that's accumulated. And the other thing is really something that I need to more steer towards is I would like to try to use a playbook move once before we're done. Maybe deal with the agency at some point in the next one. I have it in the back of my mind more than I think you need to, Rich.
But still, I'll take another look at your playbook moves and try to angle a scene to trigger one of them, where triggering it makes sense. That's a good
I'll
wish
throw
to
a
have.
wish out. I would like Tien to try and convince Chalks that we need to get rid of Kin, because despite being very upset with Kin, Chalks has no interest in giving Kin over to the Empire. Where everyone else you've talked to has been, somewhat aligned or curious about it. Chalks would be quite upset. And we have, and I really, between Keith and I, there hasn't been a scene yet. So I'd love to have that. I would also like my dice to roll low. Nothing can be done about that. I keep not getting XP. Boo. And then
Yeah,
other
I
than
have-
that, let's see.
Oh, you got a bunch of creds. Don't forget, you can just buy XP with that.
Yeah, and did I heal any? Can I mark some harm off?
Oh, please, Lord, yes. Yes, it's super
Okay.
boring to have you beat up and out of the fight. Let's
And just
but I
die?
think
Okay.
having you a little hurt is fun. So
Well, I can drop it
I-
to. I can
It's a
drop it to 2.
It's a
if I
cred
spray
for
into
3
creds.
healing,
Oh,
Yep.
for 3.
2 creds for full healing.
Yep.
And I think you also just heal 1 point because we got back to the ship in general. If you don't,
So
do
you
a
heal
full
1
heal.
point, so you'd be at 5, and you can
5.
spend 1 cred and heal 3 more, so you'd be at 2 harm, or you
Yeah,
can
let's
spend
do
2
that.
creds and you're clean.
Let's do 2 harm. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So this is a note to Will. I'm so glad we don't have luck, because like harm is harm and it freaking hurts in our version. Okay, Kate, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna throw some wishes in there.
Yeah, I wish it. Wish you good.
Impossible wishes. So, absolutely loved the scenes. Thought they were great. Would love to do more with this storylines, like everyone else has been saying. So we're bringing the Imperials in, and since we've mentioned it, I would love to see Commander Martain and Inquisitor Savick, 2 of our NPCs here.
Yep, they certainly should show up at some point.
Yeah. And then just 10 more sessions, please. Easy last one.
No, there's some year left, so we'll see. We'll see. Cool. Kay, you went last with wishes. You could go first with stars. Did you have any stars from the session?
Oh man, too many to count. Greg, I don't know why, but somehow we always end up in interesting positions against each other in these Star Wars games, and I love it. I love playing it. There's always this weird twist of camaraderie, but also angst. Whether I'm killing the person you love because they're Sith or this, and I just love playing that against you. I love Chalks' visceral reactions, but at the same time that he would not let go of Kin is just such a strong character sense. Like I know who he is. Alan, line of the game. Your meat senses. What is it? Your meat senses are overwhelming you. That was your meat senses are confusing you is perhaps one of the best things I've ever heard in my 3 years of TTRPG play. Like the best way to say someone is a simp is just so good. I love Tian's direction from that, questioning herself and how she's portrayed through all of this. And whether her meat senses are confusing her, but recognizing that, talking to people about that, I think that's really great. I was quite pleased with the what do we do about kidney conversations. I think it's so family coded in so many great ways, which is what we picked. Steven, I adore Jody. I love what Jody picks up on, like her questionability about certain things. I love her just lifting Kin up, and I think it's great. She's the mom. Kin's protective. It's delightful. I was kind of shocked, but also really intrigued by her version with Tian when they were talking about it. Because for some reason, part of me was like, Oh yeah, Jody's definitely going to protect Kim, but then to hear like not that she wasn't protecting him, but her being a little more logical about it was a great hammer home that she is a droid, and B just the whole shenanigansry great. And Will, this party would be lost without Lack. He is clutch in every way. He's getting the ship going. He's stunning Kin. He's got his witty one-liners and his cigars. He's just the surprisingly the chaos competency. And then Rich, I love your evil lady voices, as you know.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Like probably more than it should. But yeah, I'll take it. Awesome. Thank you, Kay. Greg, any wishes or stars out there that you haven't heard?
I just really enjoyed this session overall. There's so many great moments. It's hard to name just one. If I had to, I think it's the Keith meeting with the intel officer from the Empire, and that just spinning off through the whole session of, well, maybe we should get rid of Kin, maybe we should sell Kin to the Imperials, and then Chalk's having every reason to want to do that now, but he's not going to do that. It was I loved it. I loved the scene with Jody. I'm glad that we got to kind of signpost the fear that Kin has like right in front of him. That was awesome. I I loved our cool escape. I'm glad that the cartel is here. I'm super excited for next session. So
thank you. Keith, any stars you wanted to express or share?
I am loving how messy all the interconnected plots are, and especially buying into the droid thing now. And as you said, somewhere up there, the implant is way more important than originally thought. And I was like, yep, that suddenly became the thing. Like, oh man, my inner eye has opened now, and what's gonna happen? And I just want Kin to love me. I'm lashing out.
It's true. I think it's all. I have to get rid of the other girlfriend. Alan, what about you? Any stars out there for you?
Yeah, just a wish that in the end, Tian has to make the choice. Kin is hanging from the gantry, and only Tian can get to him. Anyway, stars. Yeah, stars all around. But because this is a great group, and it's fine. It's all nobody's putting a foot wrong, really. But principal starage to you, because you managed to get two halves of the group back together really very smoothly with a very elegant let's make a plan, which is a great move, which I shall steal as soon as possible.
That was Will's idea, and it was brilliant. So thank you for the star, but let me hand that to Will. That was very, very smart.
Okay. So that I think was very cool. I think the whole idea of it's almost forged in the dark, that isn't it? We don't mess about with what shall we do? We just do it and see where it takes us, and that was great. And yeah, the interpersonal is much more personal than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, indeed. Stephen, we're running well over, but I wanted to make sure you have a chance. Do you have any stars that nobody else has expressed?
I really enjoyed the scenes selfishly between Alan and Keith, and the conversation that went on there. And then the big one for me also was the payoff where Alan suggested the love letter and what happened with his time in Jody's body, and then we fulfilled the wish of the droid cantina. And then whenever we walked in, you were like, "Oh yeah," and they're making plans. And that payoff was so good for me. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
One of the stars that I don't think I've heard, but I have really enjoyed, especially in this session, it was even more stark, is how Allie and Jody both have the same end goal, but their methods cause them to come into conflict so often. And it's fascinating to me of the like, no, we both have the same goal, but you're doing it wrong. Is It's so beautiful. It's so so political, and it's just juicy. It's just chewy. I love it. It's great. I've really enjoyed that. And Kay, I would offer a star to you for being cool with everyone talking about Ken, and I appreciate you being cool with that because I Rich the player, like that sets my hackles of like, wait, everyone hates my character, but you are confident enough to know, yeah, yeah, Ken's the problem child a little bit. So thank you for allowing that and being okay with it. Cool. With that, I'll bring things to a close. Thank you all so much. We will. It will be a Titanic, amazing ending to our series, and it has been a joy. So with that, I'll stop the recording.